Hello, hello. Greetings and salutations, and I hope you are having a fabulous day. I am making this vlog video about natal returns. So, a natal return is when a planet has made a full rotation around the entire zodiac chart and made its way back to the position that it was in the sky at the time of your birth, which is why we call it the natal return. So, all the planets have a different mass, a different size, so they have a different elliptical orbit around the sun. So a little lesson in that first before we get started in the length of the cycles. So I like to use the dog on the leash metaphor for our solar system and the way that the planets evolve or revolve around the sun, I should say. So imagine you are outside walking a very excited dog and you're holding onto the leash as the dog is running away from you, but aware of all the open space around, the dog, knowing that it can't run forward, starts to run side to side instead, and maintaining that velocity, but trying to go and pull but move around as it can, but not going any further than the leash that you are holding. And that is how the sun is holding all the planets in the cycle, as it's holding them and bringing them closer towards itself and into itself. And so because of that, we have a different elliptical pattern for each planet. And some of the planets, like the sun, the moon, the Mercury, Venus, and Mars, have a shorter cycle, so therefore they rule the everyday facets of life. So the sun ruling our expression, the moon ruling our emotions, Mercury ruling thought and communication, Venus ruling our senses and sensory experience, and Mars ruling our passion and drive. So for this example, we'll use Venus. Venus has a kind of erratic return cycle because of retrogrades, and so normally that would take about 225 days or 7.5 months to complete a full cycle, but can take up to a year and some change because of that. So it can take a very short time span where it happens every 7.5 months, or it can happen in a longer time span where it happens once a year. So that is something to keep in mind for those. And what a return is, basically, it is a reconfiguration of the energy that the ruling planet has in that area of life, how it finds itself in receptivity to the sign that it's in and the aspects that it is making to other planets, and the way that it was at the time of your birth. So there's a lot of factors that are taken into consideration, and we can look at a chart solely from the perspective of the return to really narrow down and emphasize the changes or the energies at work within that placement and position in the natal chart. But without having to go into each planet and its ruling sign and what it means with the return, that really covers the basics for natal returns. Now the outer planets, like Pluto, which takes 248 years to complete a full cycle around the sun, Neptune, which takes 165 years, Uranus takes 84 years. So those returns we don't see. Those are more for looking at for historical purposes, looking to see, the Venus cycles, like what was happening every 165 years. And then with Saturn, you have your return every 30 years. So a person could potentially experience two, definitely two for sure. And then Jupiter every 12 years. So you're having a Jupiter return every 12 years. So, and then the asteroid Chiron every about 49 to 50-ish years. So looking at these planets and looking at how they aspect our lives in their natal position, and as they return to those positions throughout our lifetimes, um, very interesting and fun way to interact with that. And sometimes we have bad aspects, so it's not so fun. So, um, but it is an opportunity to engage with that, and having that foreknowledge of, oh gosh, every time I have a Mars return, um, natally it was Mars was retrograde in my natal chart, and so every time I have a Mars return, it emphasizes the delays that happen with that. So sometimes they can be kind of a crapshoot in that sense, but in other ways they can be a beneficial thing. So being able to plan for both of those kind of unstable times and for those prosperous times is a handy tool in my opinion. So I hope this was helpful and informative. Um, yeah, and oh, solar returns are your birthday. Um, so yeah, uh, take care, and I will be seeing you guys soon.